What up, guys? I'm at the house doing some work today. Pump started making a noise on this. I noticed it the other day, just running idle. And my pump's inside of here, so I'm working on getting there. I haven't really ever messed with the pump on this thing, but I did started seeing plastic. The pump doesn't flow like it used to, and it's got a noise to it now. I thought it was a bearing noise in the motor at first, but then when I found the plastic, I'm assuming I'm going to find something inside the impeller. But it's a beautiful day out here now. We're just getting everything ready. This is a nice view. It's all a mess now, but got the TV. You can't beat the view. At least I got some decent help today. That's Rory, Hazel. You guys ready? Yeah, they're not much help. And there's your impeller. Ain't no good. Hope that helps somebody. Maybe somebody with a hot tub problem, homeowner or whatever. I'm not a hot tub expert. I'm an HVAC guy. But I usually tell all my usual subscribers and all the people who usually watch the videos, leave a tray better than you found it. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it on that one too. Leave everything better than you found it. How about that? Got her in place. I drop my pipes back down. I'm leaving these loose to just have a little bit of movement until we get everything tight. So you're gonna need that play in the motor because it's not gonna line up just perfect. You don't want to screw up your threads. You don't want to cross thread it. And we're gonna use a little silicone grease just to lube up these seals here. Make sure there's no dirt or debris. And then we'll be able to tighten this guy down, fill her up. Now we're just gonna spray it down, vacuum it out, fill it up, and as it fills, we're just gonna make sure we don't have any leaks on any of our fittings. We're gonna let it sit for a little while with water on it. And once we find out we don't have any leaks, we're gonna put everything back together, and probably gonna leave this off to begin with until I can actually turn the pumps on, make sure it sounds good, all that good stuff. Make sure I have no leaks with it running. Hey, what's wrong with y'all? They think it's time to eat or something. So we're just gonna use the wire ties and tie everything up real well, make sure it's secured. So most of my usual viewers are HVAC guys. Like I said earlier, I'm an HVAC tech. If you don't know anything about electrical, you shouldn't be doing this. I'm cutting and cleaning up the electrical a little bit, but the biggest thing I see, at least in the HVAC trade, and probably everywhere if I had to guess, when doing electrical, is just the care that's taken. It really just take your time, make your wires neat. Don't leave them 3 feet long like they were when I started, and you don't want to damage the inside copper when you're stripping this. If you start getting some of these strands, especially with stranded wires, start losing some strands, then you ain't got the same wire. And you want to make sure when you get it back in there, it's going to be hard to show you guys, but there's a lug in there, and when you tighten it down, it pinches the wire. You want to make sure you're pinching the copper wire and not the insulation. You can have a bad connection if you're pinching the insulation, and it will overheat and burn up, and you got a whole nother problem. So just take a little care when you're doing your electrical work. And if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it. This is not a DIY channel, and I'm not a hot tub guy. One thing I didn't mention while we're talking about electrical wiring is just kind of checking everything. You got some connections down here. This is going to be a heater, I would assume, and we're going to have temp sensors, I would assume as well. We don't want to put any stress on these sensors or anything else. You don't want the wire like pulling or pushing or doing anything crazy. We'll make sure everything's tight. And if you look closely enough, things are labeled. So that's pump 2. And that's going to be the other pump, which is on the other side, I'm assuming. And we've got a stereo option. How about that? This thing's pretty sweet. It doesn't have a stereo. What the hell am I doing? I usually fit them all in, snug them down so they don't move. And then you want to come back and just, I can't emphasize enough, make sure you got tight connections. Your covers are there for a reason. Put them back on. Don't strip your screws out. Well, we're getting close to done. Now grab a beer and relax, right? Should probably be doing a van tour. We'll do it one day. It's still pretty clean. A lot of work keeping a van clean, but it pays off in the end because it's nice to be able to get in here and find stuff. We're about there. I got the filters soaking inside, but we can turn it on without the filters for right now. Shouldn't hurt it. Get some shit moving around. Goes the power. Give it a minute and it'll load up and everything, and once it's ready it'll tell us to push the button, start the pumps, and circulate to get all the air out. Run pumps, purge air, pump 1. That should be my pump. Looks good, no water leaks. Listening for air or anything you can hear when there's air in a pump like that usually. And before I cycle it up, because that's my 2-speed, I'm just gonna get the air out, let it run for a little bit. And we need to make sure we do get a filter in it before we run it for too long. We got some just floaties just from, it's a nice spring day. Neighbor cutting his grass. I got the rest of the grass was cut. I gotta get those posts out too. That's my next task. But high speed. That's what it ought to look like. It did not look like that before. Sounds pretty good. Pump 2. That one didn't start right away, so we're gonna give it a minute. We don't want to just keep punching that button. It's got air and everything else in it, so I don't want to tear that one up. There we go. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Clean filter goes a long way too, so I built this just PVC shoved in the ground, nothing special, but that goes on there nice, and I can get it with the hose. Tell you what, 58 degrees feels good on the hands. I half tempted to jump in that damn thing. We're just scale after we get some chlorine in it. It shouldn't take too long. We're just gonna put that in there. We'll check it again here. We'll let it run for 15 minutes or so. The pumps run for 15 minutes, so I usually just kick them on, let them run, and then once they stop, I'll kick them on again and start checking the chemicals. So we're about done. I got the chemicals straight. I needed to warm up faster. I'm running out of daylight. I got a sunset and a clean space now. So for anybody still watching, I appreciate y'all. This is a little different than what I usually do, but I do appreciate it. Leave a trade bear and you found it. I'll see y'all next time. I got a nice sunset over there. How about that?